Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's episode of the Gym Owners Podcast. This week, we're going to talk about the things that you need to know, what you need to do in order to know that you're ready to be launching a specialty program. If you're going to launch a new program, a new class, a new product at all within your gym, there's some things that you need to have squared away before you decide what to do, when to do it. And then we're also going to go into kind of a step-by-step guide a little bit on how you actually can execute, sell, and fulfill your new products, new classes, new programs, whatever. Before we start, make sure you go to the Gym Owners Revolution. That Facebook group link is in our description. Get in there. We're going to have some big challenges coming up, some nice free things for you to hop in where we'll kind of help guide you to build your new offer stack, get your business selling bigger ticket items, super profitable. So we're going to execute all that stuff within the Facebook group for free here in the next month or two. So get into the Gym Owners Revolution group. Link is in the description. Follow the show on Instagram at the Gym Owners Podcast. Follow me at Tyler F. and Stone on Instagram. And John, how can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at jbanksfl.
So, John, what's the number one trap that people fall into when they decide to launch a new program or new product within their gym?
They do it without any fucking plan at all.
Yes.
They just fucking go for it.
And we were just talking about this before, is we've done it in almost every business we've been associated with. Every business we've worked with, it's a mistake that we've made a lot, which is building a product before you've sold it, essentially, right? If you're going out there and you want to make something, you want to, I want to have a new class, a new program. If it's in our business, maybe it's a new course or an entire thing. Completely building this is we're not making houses here. By the way, let me give you this analogy. Do you know how new houses are sold now? A lot. If you go into a new development, they're very rarely are they building a house, letting it sit there, and then hoping that people come and then want to buy it. That's not how this goes anymore. What they're going to do is they're going to build one model home, and what they're going to let a bunch of other people go through and check that out and be like, yeah, it's going to be pretty much like this kind of, and they'll sell 25 houses that don't exist yet, and then they start building them. And hopefully around the time the financing is done and closing's done, the house is pretty much there. But they're selling houses that don't exist. And you do need to know that your business kind of needs to do this, because I've done this thing, man, where we've built entire online courses. I've done it for training programs too, full training course programs. I've done it for educational products where I have built the entire thing beginning to end. And maybe it was one step misguided from the demand or whatever, but it built the whole thing, do all this work, brand it, then we're ready. I got this product. It sits there. And then you go and you try to sell it and it underperforms. And what you've done is you've maybe recouped a little bit, but the opportunity to earn money was the reason you started down this road. And that's the only reason you put in all that work, and it wasn't there. So it's super, super important to assess. The first thing you need to do is assess the demand, and you don't need to make a product and then hope that people sell it or hope that people buy it. You need to find out what people want. Then you need to make that thing. And by the way, find out what they want, tell them you can do that for them, take money from them, and then start making that thing. But you need to get as close to that transaction already happening as you can possibly be before you start launching a new product in your gym.
And if you do it the right way, you will be able to bankroll to make that thing successful. The whole idea is that it's oftentimes you lack the money to be able to make it truly as awesome as it needs to be. So you have to be able to get enough of the ideas being like, I think this is something that my people want. I have an idea of what people want. You've done the legwork. I'm sure we're going to go into this of like how you assess and decide what do people actually want. But if you make that decision ahead of time and you can't sell it, then you're fucked, right? You've lost a bunch of money. The real gangster play is that you establish what people want. And then when someone buys it, if you have built it correctly, especially price-wise and how you go about selling it, one or two people is enough to bankroll the whole thing to kick ass. And then the rest of the money is just gravy that you can then use however you want to use.
Yeah. So the thing we saw a lot in the COVID era was gym owners trying to move sideways. Businesses were closed. There's a ton of people locked out of their gyms. There was a big demand for at-home training. And we got into it with a couple clients as well. They hired us to start building online courses for them so they could start to see if they could sell them, see if we can run a digital product. And they spend all the money, all the infrastructure, the website, the design, everything, and all the fulfillment to this stuff is a as a much maybe more thorough product than it needed to be, and then it doesn't sell enough. And then it does not, by the way, it does not matter how good the product is if the product cannot get to market. And I had an uncle, I don't know if I shared this in this podcast. I have a great uncle who's like a lifetime inventor. And it was like it's a very interesting story. He's a very like feast or famine guy. He's had enormous houses on the lake. And at one point, he's an old timer. He's, like he would be, if he was still alive, he would be in his 90s at this point. But enormous houses and like tons of kids, like all the money in the world at some points. And then at times, I think there was times they were living in a boxcar on my grandparents' farm with like 8 kids. So this is like the ups and downs of being an inventor. Is you're all in, you're all out. Like there's a lot there. But one of the things that he always said was it does not matter what your product is or how good it is. If all the steps that it take to get it to market, it ends up being at a price that is just not something people will pay, then it doesn't fucking matter. It's worth nothing. It really is worth nothing. That old adage, if you build a better mousetrap, people will beat a path to your door, is bullshit. In my opinion, that is as bullshit as if you build it, they will come. It's in the same vein, and that mindset will keep you poor forever. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have to, you really, really, really need to know what people want. And then you need to kind of get them already there. If they're not already at your door, ain't nobody beating a path to your door. So this is why most marketing, most places, like most online business ends up being based on your audience, your email list, all of that stuff, way more than it is your product. You come up with the best damn product in the world. If you can't market it or sell it or get it to people or get people's eyes on it, it's useless no matter how good it is or how cool it is. Or no matter what the value is, to be honest with you.
The biggest mistakes that we made, that I've made, the most dangerous place you can be is somewhere where you're confident on how to be able to build something.
Yeah.
If you know how to do it and you feel really confident in doing it, you know just enough to be dangerous, and it rarely is to others. And so what I found, that this is when you and I, we listened to gym owners early, and what they said and what they wanted us to do, we just did. And it's the biggest mistake we ever have made.
Yeah. Because
we did a ton of work and the ideas were good, and we just were yes men.
Yeah. We just did the work.
It did it. It was awesome. It got done. It was, had all the pieces. And then we watched these babies that we built, because every new program that you build is like this tiny little slice of who you are, right? It came from idea. You birthed that idea. You watched it come to fruition. It's now living and breathing, and people just let the baby die outside in the rain on its own. And we watched that happen twice. And after the second time it happened, I remember very clearly that conversation I had with you, which was, we have to start telling them no. Yep. It just is no. There is a certain order and rhythm that these things have to be done in, or we just, no, fuck it. No, we're not going to do it. You can go do it yourself. Like we will not do it that way.
And as a person who has ideas, and you have ideas that you think people want, don't just the thing that you mentioned when you went through that, John, is very right, is that you have this idea and it's a part of you, but know that at that point, it's mostly just about you. And if you're trying to make something that people want to buy, it needs to actually be more about them than it needs to be about, what you know, or how cool you think this thing would be, or how much you wish that people would like this thing. So no, if you're going to make a new program about, we were into this one time where they had a bunch of pressure to make like a bench press program for digital stuff. And I was like, none of our people bench, like they may wish that they could bench press well, but if I know our audience, they don't bench press. They literally don't. None of them do. And it's like, so then I had to make this whole thing that I didn't want to make, put it out there and lays an egg. And it's like, well, yeah, dude, like this is how this works, man. Like, know your audience a little bit. Just because you want this thing to be a thing that you're about, like it does not work that way. So it's really important to know that the only person that matters in this equation, as far as whether this thing should be done, your product should be done, is the person who's going to buy it. It has nothing to do with you or how cool you think it should be. Just know that. So when you've established, like, you know what, I got like 10 people that said they kind of would be interested in this thing. Know that constant having that communication and constantly having that dialogue is the way, like having your finger on the pulse of your audience is exactly going to be the only way that you're going to know what's what. That's it. Because if you do that, now you're going to get a lot of really valuable information. But if you're the type of gym owner that hides and completely avoids like the conversations in your gym. You just kind of want things to happen. Like you need to have some channels, which is always, John, we do this with our, kind of for our testimonials play. It's like, what do you wish that we would do? What do you wish we would do more of? What do you wish we would do less of? What, like that's a conversation that should kind of be had maybe in person and then also maybe in writing and officially back and forth via email, via some constant touch points with your members. But defining what they actually want, not just what they want, but what they're willing to pay for and how much they'd be willing to pay for it is the key to this whole thing. Okay, that's number one. So once you've got that in, you know that people really want to do thing A. They like, I really would like to be able to do let's just go. We have a good example for one, which is just like a muscle building program that we run through with the gym. That's now probably on a second or third year of running this thing 3 times a year. It's very successful. It's a bigger ticket program. That program will not work in all gyms. It absolutely will not. It worked in that gym because with the way it was communicated, it was exactly the thing that enough people wanted. You didn't need half your members to want it. That's important to know. If we had 100 out of their 200 people saying, I want this thing, it would probably be priced very differently too. But we had a very consistently we knew that between 10 and 25 people would be willing to pay between $1,400 and $2,000 for this specialty program. Perfect. Then they didn't even have to build it. At this point, it was already sold, meaning you could take the money, you could start to just free up a spot on the schedule, and then you can fulfill on the fly but it's never going to be as great the first time you build it anyways. So the first time, and literally when I'm talking build it, in this case, it's just like, what time's it going to be there? How are we going to email them to let them know? Building means more than just writing the programming, but it also does mean writing the programming. Okay, you can sell a muscle building program and not know what the program is going to be. Just know that every week you're going to give them stuff and you're going to lay out a progression for building muscle and hope that you're good at it. But if you do it long enough, you'll be tuning it up as you go. And then eventually it will be a tried and true, proven and tested, perfect fucking muscle building program.
For our diehard coaches and our gym owners, you have to pause and think about this for a second. What we just said, we absolutely have executed this the very first time, and it made whatever, 20, 25, $30,000, right? So it makes that play. The programming was not written for the entire thing until the entire 12-week program was finished.
Correct.
Right? It definitely was not written. We had sold all the spots for program and no programming was written. We had just marketed it, sold it, and no programming. So we become obsessed with programming and the style of programming. And this is where really it doesn't fucking matter, man. Well, like at some point it does to a degree,
and
but
as a
not
coach,
in order to sell.
As a coach, it's a big thing for you to learn. If you're trying to make money in this, it doesn't matter how big your fucking brain is, how smart you are, how much you know. Because if you try to put that out first, guys, I'm so smart. I have the ultimate programming with this flawless fucking periodized, scaled up, like here's all the dorky shit that goes into this. And when you realize if you would just shut the fuck up about that and you would say, we're going to get you some fucking beef. We're going to hang some beef on your frame here in the next 12 weeks. Let's go. That's what they want. They want to build muscle. They don't want your brilliant fucking stroke of genius to be written on paper. Like they don't appreciate that. And once you get through your head, eventually you're going to be able to sell stuff that people want. And that's the key here.
The number one thing that a coach that we work with, that's one of our coaches, like for business, that helps us specifically with marketing and video and all these different dynamic pieces when it's related to media. The number one thing that she pointed out, she goes, and it was a big group call with a bunch of other people that are on it. And she goes, the worst thing that can ever happen to you as a coach is for someone to read or watch your content and leave that content thinking, man, you sure are smart.
Yeah.
Because then they don't fucking buy.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, you don't want to be smart because now it's like, oh, well, boy, that's super interesting. And that's really interesting. You're really smart. So the person leaves your shit and they go and research and they go into diving down into rabbit holes and all sorts of places to be able to learn more about that thing that you introduced to them because, boy, you're smart. And it doesn't result in them actually joining your shit and changing their life.
No, exactly. So make it about your clients, make it about what they want. It's not about the program, it's not about the bones, it's about the results, it's about the outcome, and it's about getting a person to move towards it. And there's no trying to convince somebody who's far away from something to get really close to something and then commit to it is a fruitless endeavor. So the thing to do, this is why you get all the feedback from within your gym, from your member base. It's like, what would you be very close to pulling the trigger on? Because then being a little bit persuasive goes a very long way towards making you money if you build a product that's much closer to their wants, as opposed to building something that is basically 100% about your wants and has zero input from them.
My wife calls me out on it, and I think she calls us both out on it a little bit, because she gets to a point where she goes, everything can't just be fucking beards and bald people and like powerlifting all the time. and she will give that to me when I might be a little more critical to things that aren't as awesome as we are when I hear other ideas, especially if it's in a gym space, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say, this is super stupid, or this is lame, and they're making a mistake. And she's like, well, and then she gets up, right? And she's like, well, it can't be that. I'm like, no, make no mistake. If I was thinking or trying to get a gym to do a bald beards, powerlifting, and whiskey only program, and that was all their marketing, I would equally tell them that they were fucking up and that they're making a mistake. It's on each side of the spectrum. And again, it's just get the fuck out of your own way. You have to understand your market and understand your people.
Yeah. So from there, though, the nice thing is when you have something that is that close, right? So for the example of the muscle building program, it's really close. Like we knew we had some people that really were interested, especially in like a functional fitness gym. Most of them are small. Most of them do way too much mid-level conditioning to gain any size. Most of them, once they get to a certain level of leanness, they wish they could get bigger, but all the fluffy 18-minute fucking chippers like aren't actually gaining them any size. And so like it is a pretty easy market to sell muscle building to if you can actually get them to do the work. That's thing one. That's one side. That's one of your kind of customer avatars. The other is the person within maybe a functional fitness space who doesn't really like those types of workouts. They like have grown to resent all the conditioning and shit, and they're like, I'd rather just get jacked. So there's kind of two sides to it, but then you can pit to those people. And so we did the branding. So this next step here is kind of branding. Name it, title it, have fun with it, but just connect it to those people. And so we just took kind of a fun tone with the whole thing. But the way they sold it is we were like, it started out like, I'm trying to remember how some of those first videos went. We just had like a Q&A, like, who's this program for? It's like, oh, it's for anybody who's looking to get muscle. We would ask all these like increasingly silly questions about it. It's like, well, what if I don't want to gain any more muscle? What if I just want to do cardio? We had the guy just knock the phone off the thing. So it's this very kind of quick rapid fire bit that just made the building muscle aspect of this seem cool. It was just like, oh, that is pretty cool. Yeah. What if somebody who sees this thing and then wishes, no, I just want to do more cardio. And then you kind of get like yeah, fuck that guy thing. And so the whole thing connected to them. It wasn't brilliant, but it was just it was a perfect piece of content. It was just one little thing between that piece of branding and the name. And then all we did was send emails out regarding along that flow. We just kept it kind of thematically the same, or hey, it was kind of fun. You want to get jacked? Instead of just like, right. we have a hypertrophy program designed with the perfect pyramid. It's like, let's get fucking huge. You want to get jacked? Let's go. Like gone are the days of doing endless cardio. Let's get yoked. Big pecs, rippling fucking delts, striations of the mud, like all that stuff. You could just lean into that. But when you have that thing, it's already connected to them. You have a fun concept. Now you can be creative. Now you can actually create, and it's fun, and that people like it. And that was compelling enough. It sold. It crushed immediately, and it's crushed now every quarter or every 4 months, 5 months. Every time they run it now, that program probably makes that gym anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 a year now.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. And it's only essentially run a few times a year for 12 weeks, and it's 3 or 4 coaching sessions a week. Like it's just, in a semi-private, smaller group. And it's, so it crushes. But you can't just go, I'm going to do specialty programs. I'm doing big ticket. And you're just going to wing one because you want money. That's the problem. You can't just say, I want that money, and then I'm just going to make the thing that I want. If you want that money, you need to make the thing that they want. So it's going to be that piece. Once you get the branding there, you can start flowing out, you can sell it. But let's get into the details of that, John, like how to actually sell that stuff. So we started Again, this is an internal play exclusively. So you're going to run specialty programs. You can do a specialty program that's an external play, and we'll maybe get into how to execute that later. This could be multi-layered, meaning you could run a special offer for someone coming in saying, hey, maybe we're not just a CrossFit gym. We got this 12-week get jacked, get huge, get fucking beefy program. If you want in on this, and then you can run ads and do that stuff for people coming in. But know that your organic traffic usually for, say, a functional fitness gym or group fitness classes is going to say, what the fuck, if you just drop that one on them right away.
The way too that we do this and have had success every single time is an important metric where this always is the first step. You always test drive. We have a very specific sequence, right? You test drive it with your one-on-ones, just you, testing an idea, testing a theory. Then you maybe branch out to a small group. Then you open it up to only in gym. All of these things and a few more that we go over with you in the Gear Academy, a few more before you take it out to the public, like you said, and have it be something that you're going to throw out there, because that, if you want to lay an egg and confuse your people, that's definitely is to have something they've never heard of or seen it before.
Yeah, and especially if it's purely associated with your brand externally, because now people get very confused as far as what you do. So once you start paying to promote that, your people who maybe want to come over, like, oh, I just want to lose a little weight, I'm a regular average Joe, and you start doing some extreme branding for a specialty program, all of a sudden people will go, I never want to go to that place, and it'll cut the throat of all the other things that you do. So know that that's very important. Now, on the other side of that, when we do this stuff, the most important thing is consistent communication about this. If you think that sending an email to your email list in your gym once about this program and stopping and wondering why, I don't know, nobody really was interested, I had one or two people talk and I couldn't close them, and stopping, you didn't fucking try. Know that too. That is absolutely like, this is the same mindset with gym owners who are afraid when a new lead comes in to like talk to them about the full offer stack. And if you just go ahead and here's our membership, do you want it or do you want something free instead? That's a big fucking no too. Okay, you need to just be the person who has the thing, which means here's our thing. You interested? And via email marketing, you kind of got to be consistent with it. You need to continue to send. If your email's if you're not writing out, John, what do we do for these? Probably the lead up 7 emails going out over the build up to this thing. And some of them were simply reminders. Some of them would be embedded that video. Others would be, hey, do you got any questions about this? We are going to get started on this day. People are pretty excited. Ask your coach. There's a lot of different ways you can go to justify that outreach, but they need to be talked to about this thing, and they need to be talked to about it a lot. Because the way your emails go in your email inbox, it gets ignored unless it's urgent, meaning they're going to ignore 8. They may pop into 1 if they see like, oh, they're really talking about this a lot. What is this about? If it's intriguing to them. If you're only one and doneing, you might as well have done none. Because that's it is what you get. I've seen it with supplement sales too. Dump some copy paste shit, like, hey, we got a new, here's a laundry list of the copy paste shit that our fucking supplement company said. Do you want these? Just maybe tell us. And then no follow up on it. It's like, yes, that's why you're not selling supplements. You have not, like, it's just this pure like symbolic gestures, like, here we have them, and now please just make money happen for me. It's cowardice, it's not trying, and it's a pure lack of effort. So if you want to sell this thing, you need to try. If you've done all these things right, your people want it. So once you get in and you pull the trigger, it's email. Design the whole sequence ahead of time. This is one thing you can kind of build out, because you do just need to map it. You can write the copy. There's great tools now for writing copy with some of the AI stuff that maybe we'll get into the specifics of some other time. But it used to be a thing that was like, it's a lot of work to do it really, really well, but you can do it pretty good for not very much effort if you just take a very practical approach to these emails. And that's the thing you and I did a lot, because we were trying to do a lot of charming, slimy shit that just imitated what everybody else does. It doesn't work. I don't like to write that way. So here's the program. Here's the funny stuff about it. Maybe we drop in a few quips here and there, but it's never a thing where it's like, hey, did you know that? It's like, hey, I'm closing the gym as the subject. Like, right. It is like that bait and switch shit for email subjects and stuff is very disingenuous, and people will hate it. But you can go through and you can just be practical. One of the things we always did was we touched in on start date and contact points every time. So it comes like, hey, it's just a reminder that we're starting in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So if you want in, do this. And then we say a thing about it. And then we go through and it's like, hey, the week's wrapping up. If you've had a chance to talk to your coach at the gym, ask them about it. Otherwise, if you're interested, text me. Just a slightly different call to action. It's not so repetitive. It really is just about updates. If you tether those things to an event going on in your gym, which we did just attach to one time with what was it? It was just like a barbecue that they were having. But the nice thing was like, hey, and we're going to kick off this thing. Reminder, the barbecue's at this time. And also, if you want to get in on it, that way the emails were useful. They weren't just solicitation.
Yeah, and it's important to have that balance, right? That balance of if you're someone, and this is a mistake that we have seen get made time and time again, because the other guys, right? The folks that are in this industry that you all know, the names, what they're called, who they are. If you've ever gotten like swipe files or downloads from them and get a PDF of being like, get my best email sequence or text message sequence, holy shit, buckle up. If you have not communicated with your population before, your community before, and you plug in one of those fucking text sequences or email sequences, and you've never made an ask, you've never like given informative shit, or you've been kind of off and on, and all of a sudden you come hard in the hole of just ask. It is like
slimy, over charming, like no hook, not about them.
It's fucking brutal. And your people, early on, we watched a gym owner take it, plug all that shit in, just didn't edit, didn't update, fucking nothing. And he literally started getting phone calls and text messages and emails from his longest standing members that were like, hey, so what are you trying to do? Like, I like that you're hustling and you're doing all these things, but like, this feels wrong. Like, this feels off. Is like everything okay? Like, literally,
there was almost
everything
threats.
okay.
There was almost threats to leave. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In that too comes with some, running ads with content that are not theirs. So you have people like saying like, why is this ad that I saw for my gym show a bunch of people that aren't working out in my gym, like video of it? Like, what the fuck is this? And why is this awesome shit that we don't do? So it's got to be you. It should be you. But it doesn't have to be slimy, and nor does it have to be super charming. Listen, it doesn't always have to be your voice, but it should be it should fit your business. And that's the thing that we do, that we try very hard, especially within the Gear Academy, to maintain that the other guys out there don't. The other guys out there do just want to plug you into just this pure high electricity, high octane fucking growth mechanism. That's all doesn't give a fuck about you, doesn't give a fuck about your brand, doesn't give a fuck about the thing that you've been trying to build at its heart. Doesn't have it, has no soul. So it just turns up the volume, turns up the noise, and your people, the ones who actually like you, the ones who you're trying to attract, the ones who appreciate at your heart what you're really trying to do, at the center of what you're trying to do with your business, those people are going to go, this now sucks. What the fuck? And every gym that I've seen that does this, that's the one thing. It will cost you your soul. It may make you some money, but it will cost you your soul. And it does not have to be one thing or the other. It just doesn't. Okay, so you can do this. You can make money. You just got to be a little bit mindful about your approach to going out with these things. So write an email sequence. Doesn't need to be slimy. It's something you got to do. And you can, by the way, you can be very thorough. You can hit up email stuff a lot. But if you're going to hit people up a lot, you better pay attention to the tone. And don't let that scare you away, though. Be practical. So you're getting this new program out, John. All you do is you start sending some emails, let people know. In a handful of those, make sure people know that your coaches are able to answer some questions about it. Then in your staff meetings, okay, anytime you're going to have a product launch, you need to bring your whole staff onto like up to speed with it. This goes from supplements to new programs to just, you should be having staff meetings regularly. Staff meetings are not just about teaching your coaches how to coach or about what muscles mean what or whatever bullshit that is. It's like staff meetings should also be about your business, because you're paying them money to be in your business, not to be your friends or not to someday become as big of a fitness guru expert as you are. They're there to help you make money by helping your clients. And part of helping you make money by helping your clients is helping your clients identify programs that they would like to do and selling that to them. So your coaches, whether it's in class or in one-on-one, need to be briefed. Hey, you need to bring this up in class every day. And it can be simple. It doesn't need to be slimy again. It can be in the beginning. Hey, if any of you guys are interested in this new fucking whatever Operation Beef House program we're running here at the end of the month, let me know. I can answer some questions about it, or I can have, owner come in and chat with you, or I'll just have him shoot you a text message if you have any questions. You could have as simple as someone, if you want to know, just let me just write your name down. I'll just have him follow up with you later today if you want. But whatever that is, like, you need to make it very known that that is the thing that's being talked about in class. Coaches are divas. Coaches don't give a fuck about selling anything. Coaches only want to coach and then they want to fucking leave. But know that you're paying them to be a representative of your business. And if your business does not thrive, that coach can go fuck himself. I have seen a million coaches that we give sweet deals to on commissions and all this shit, or we overpay. We've built some very lucrative systems for coaches, and all that does, if you do not apply pressure, those coaches will become lazy divas. They just become more entitled the more you give them. So know that you cannot just give them money and then have them say, well, look at me. I'm really here to work for you. You can't just pay them well either, because if you pay them really well and you do not apply pressure to outcomes, okay, you do not apply pressure in the direction you want there to be things going, they won't do it. There's a level of hubris that comes with a fitness coach. That means I'm the one here, I'm the expert. And while there's compassion and all that other shit, they will take whatever you give them, and they will at some point, with outside of the coaching aspect, they will do as little as possible in your business. So know that these people have two functions: to coach your people and to be the consistent bridge, to bridge the gap between your business as a structure and your clients. So you need to have them be there. Like, we have a new product. Talk to me about it, because they're the person in front of them all fucking day. And if they're not willing to do that, then that coach does not fit your business. That coach is just a person pointer tour and a clock runner and an exercise enthusiast who walks people through exercises. And that person may be better suited to be a personal trainer than he's going to be to simply an independent personal trainer than he is to be a coach within your business. So you got to know that the coaches need to be brought in speed. This thing needs up to speed. This thing needs to be talked about constantly in your business, and in a positive way. If you get a coach that's snarky about it because they don't want to do it, cut them out right away, because they will be cancer in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. For the ones who are like, I can tell you, you give them one shot at that, and then that's it. No, you need to start looking. You need to start hiring, because that is a role that the coach needs to fill. And if they don't, they're a poison. You cannot let the fucking inmates run the asylum. Okay, you cannot. And coaches will do everything they can do to make this place theirs if they can.
Oh, and just cool guy it up, right?
Exactly.
Just be like, oh, well, I'm too cool. Like, oh no, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, oh, so and so, he's always up to fucking something.
Even
like,
really great coaches will do that cool guy syndrome shit to the point where like I'm too cool to be asking people about this. Fuck that guy. I don't care how good he is at teaching people how to squat. Fuck him. What he's doing is cutting your throat within your business. Right. And you need to, your business, as in regards to your staff, needs to be presenting a unified front. And that means all your coaches need to be fired up about it. They need to be enthusiastic. You can't have a coach. If I'm coaching here and we're going to in a gym and they're going to offer a, say a endurance program, right? Like we're going to go like some big long distance cardio, like mega endurance program. And if I'm here as the big muscle guy, I can't go like, this shit's dumb. What a bunch of little people. And even though because I don't think the stuff's dumb, it's just something I wouldn't be doing. Right. But I can't even say that. But again, you still need to be like, no, it's really cool. Like, it's really cool. It's like, I don't know that quite as built for me, but like, it's sweet. If you're interested in it, like they got to be on board with the benefits, because it's not about them or their wants or what they think is cool. It's about what the person wants. They need to connect those dots.
And I don't want to go too far on this, but it's super important where it has nothing to do with the fucking program. None. We get too obsessed with the program. We get too obsessed with the machine. We get too obsessed with the actual movement itself. Squats are cool, but what the fuck do you do squats? What's the point? That's why we do squats. So the squat is irrelevant. Whatever that movement is, front squat, overhead squat, whatever the fuck, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The program, if it's a high endurance for small people program, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the program is. What are the goals of the program you're building? And that's what everyone should be communicating.
Yeah.
What's the point of it? All right. One of the things I wanted to hit on that I think you're the fucking general of your organization. You're the king of your kingdom, the castle, whatever. Like, you are in charge. In every one of these scenarios, you cannot assume that anyone knows what they're supposed to do.
Yep.
If you assume, right, you make an ass out of you and me. Like that's one of the oldest school teacher things. Like it's the assumption piece is where I see the gym owners fuck up the most and most consistently, especially when it comes to managing people. Everything we've hit on is driving towards why that's so important. And the reason why, like, I'm talking on like huge fucking organizational things. When I played football on Fridays before our game Saturday in college, the head coach would come out and we would do one of the most fucking stressful things of the whole goddamn week: roster check and package checks. The head guy would stand out in front and he would have the fucking sheet and he would say, first team, punt team. And you had to be there in like 3 fucking seconds. It had to be that there was no hesitation, no confusion. And he did it with every single package across every single part of the team. And holy fuck, I have watched guys that were going to start tomorrow not play and certainly not start because they fucked up that check on Friday.
Yeah.
Because it was when shit's going gnarly and it is the fourth quarter and there's a minute to win the goddamn game.
And you're not sure whether it's punt
penalty.
Yep.
Because
exactly.
the wrong guy doesn't know, and you had to know who your backup was.
Yeah.
It's all right, so-and-so, you're out, who's in? Like, it had to be immediate. It had to be something that was so, and because that no assumption was ever made, that's like, oh, well, they know. They know who second string is. They know who the backup is. They know who the guy to your left is going to be. No assumption was ever made, so we didn't fuck that up. How often do you see it get fucked up where it's all personnel issues, wrong guys on the field, or they don't know what the fuck they're doing?
You know this in especially in football, what happens so often in those situations is, you know how it goes. You get very close to the first game of the season, and it is kind of like that where nobody really, you're like, man, I don't know. Like, you barely quite understand the packages and what's what. Like, okay, like it is really not that sure. If you're in there you see it on TV, you watch the stuff and you're like, oh, these guys, yeah, like obviously, what is it? I mean, they're going to go for it, but literally the difference between having punt team and having like a 2 tight end package out there is like that the decision has to be made that needs to be voiced across the entire sideline. You can't have one coach parrot the thing the wrong, and then all the right people need to be out. And if you're on the ground, if you're playing, that is much more on thin ice. That situation is on much thinner ice than anybody watching TV knows, because like that is that's a level of like organization that is like, that's a lot. It has very little to do with once the fucking ball is snapped, what happens, and can I outplay the guy and outperform the guy that I'm going against. It's not like that. It's like, hey, motherfucker, like there's a lot going on here that's not just in what's going on the floor. And that package check's a big deal. And this is really one of the great functions of your staff meetings. And we'll get into what you should be doing in staff meetings, but it's got to be it. Guys, here's what we're focusing on this week. I need these, and there needs to be accountability to metrics. It needs to be next week, guys. You know, like in the next week, in the next meeting, guys, we only got like 2 of these people committed. And so I went through and I've been asking gym members who have been in class, you know, if they had heard of the program, or if you had talked to them about it, if you had brought it up, and half of them didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Okay. And this happens in every business. You know, we used to offer like maintenance agreements with clients, you know, in heating and air conditioning industries. So we'd come through and it's like, you know, they have a service call, something breaks. Say, are you offering maintenance contracts to these people at the end? Like, hey, we know, like we come in twice a year, we check your shit at the beginning, end of the season, or whatever. We would find out like somebody's numbers just wouldn't quite be right. So we shoot them email like, hey, did our technician mention this? Or what we started doing, which technicians hated this, follow-up call at the end. After the service technician leaves and gets paid, you call them like 20 minutes later, like, hey, this is so-and-so from the office. We just want to make sure we got everything squared away. Cool. I said he got payment done. All that should be good. Did our technician mention a maintenance agreement? And if they go, oh, no, not really, that dude is in fucking trouble. But the reason you do all that, it's great for customer satisfaction. People actually want this shit. It's not because you're afraid or your coaches are afraid to ask it. People actually want this shit. And if you don't offer them, you're not going to sell them. And the truth is, for the business, that person getting asked versus them not getting asked, if that goes across the board, that costs the business tens, 20s of thousands of dollars over the course of a year. And that's recurring income. That's now you getting a technician in their place that's a big, big part of that relationship. So Staff meetings are super important. This needs to be universal, like all the way across the business. That needs to be plugged in. From there, follow up via text message, I think, is another like slick little trick that we've done a lot, which is, if you do have the ability to text people, all of your people that are within your gym, when you do announce that new program, maybe the second or third email that you send out about it, just shoot a text message to everybody like, hey, did you get a chance to check out that email I sent today? And the ones who kind of
That's all you
respond,
need.
then that's all you do. And the ones who respond like, yeah, actually I did. I'm not really that interested. Cool. Hey, no big deal. Thanks, man. And then the ones you say, yeah, what's going on with it? And then now you have a dialogue started. And by the way, depending on the price of this thing, you only get a few of those people to take a step or two towards you. And now, like over the course of that, combined with the in-person stuff, combined with what you get interest for directly via the email, next thing you know, you got 15 people who've bought a thing for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. That little bit of effort now can be done over the course of the year 2-3 times, and it crushes.
It's really important too. Don't underestimate what we just said of like that specific question is said that way specifically. Did you get the email? What you're doing is psychologically is you're opening up for hopefully a yes. What you want is a yes. Now, yes or no. Now, if they say no, great. You've now just directed them that email, and that's going to help get that started again. But if you get a yes, psychologically, you just got a yes. So now you need to go back to the last episode we just released, which is the idea of closing via text message, but we went deep on this. But you are now in a sales opportunity. You are closing. They said yes, go close. Take advantage of a yes, because the yes was just said. The more yeses you stack, psychologically, you are pushing someone closer. The odds of them agreeing and joining something is just math. It's math. It's higher. And so take advantage of that. Always open up the opportunity for someone to say yes and agree to something you're asking or talking about, just because psychologically it gets you closer to them. Because if they don't fucking want to talk to you about it, they won't respond. It's easy to ghost someone. So understand where you're at in that scenario.
So at that point, your program is, as if you follow kind of this guide here, your program has had from its conception to its marketing, to your outreach, your sales. I also really want to plug in one more thing. If you can offer upsells, build some sort of a stack to someone who's interested in the program, that's even better. Don't try to fold all things into the program. Have the program be the thing, right? When someone is interested, and then make sure you offer, like, by the way, if you want to add, what are the great things for hypertrophy programs or fat loss, body scans for accountability, or nutrition add-on if you can, like we do to all those things. Like, it's just a great way to make an extra $300 to $500 a fucking, a piece for clothes, which again, across 10 to 15 sales makes a big difference. So building in some sort of upsells, like making an offer that matters, is great. So then it's not just about the program. The program can get you this. What other things maybe would you like this to have? And make sure that you can have it bundled with all sorts of stuff. Don't force everybody into a yes or no situation. So when you do this, though, now you have a product that gives you the best opportunity to make the most amount of money out of it. You have people that are like, you have the best chance of enticing people because it's at its conception. It's based on them and not you. And from there, sky's the limit. When you fulfill this thing, then when you get done, follow up after the fact. Ask everybody, maybe even an official, out exit survey from the program, where you want testimonials about the program, because this is how you're going to sell. Any specialty program should be something that you can recur. So harvest testimonials at the end. Make sure you get testimonials like, this program was great, I did this. And that should also include, for a specialty program, metrics for results. I put on X amount of pounds of muscle, and it was like, that matters. Before and after pictures are great if they want to do them. And then again, ask the question, if we did this again in a few months, how likely would you be to participate? Because now you know. Because by the way, their successes will convince more people to come in to do the thing the next time you offer it. And if you know that of the 15 people that did this program, that 8 of them are like 10 out of 10 for sure, I'm going to do this, when can we start again? Well, now you have that money nearly guaranteed if they put their money where their mouth is, and then you can still market to more after that. Because by the way, out of this specialty program that we've ran, that we've kind of touched on this whole time through, I think we've got 3 people or 4 people that have done it every single time, which means of those people, you've gotten like $8,000 out of each of them. now. So that's $8,000 more in the last 2 years than you would have got if you were just selling them $150 memberships.
There's even another layer, Tyler. So people in the first iteration of doing this, of really rolling out and doing a great job of having a specialty program come out, when it finished, they didn't want to stop.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, because there was an exit interview to conversation, and essentially they wanted to continue. They didn't want to go back to the group stuff. They wanted to continue. So they sold themselves into either a semi-private or personal training where they could continue that style of training because they liked it so much that you didn't even have to sell it. Now, if you said nothing, there's no opportunity. And that is why you have all those stacks. You have all these things that are in place. And folks, just please, can I give you more money? And when you don't have to ask, and when people say, I want to give you more money, that is when you are playing the game to the level that we want you playing and that we have our people play with inside of the Gear Academy. And it's the whole reason why we wanted to create this entire thing, to change the game completely.
So if you want in on all this, get in the Gear Academy, because this is not about just hearing all the dollars that we mentioned and saying, I'm going to launch a specialty program. Because if you do that, you've missed the first fucking step that we talked about. It's not about your wants, it's about theirs. If you can fill a need, serve with the people, find out what they want, and you can do that, know that that demand is there, that the demand to spend that money is there. Now you're set. If you come into John, we've talked about the successes for these programs that we've run with clients before, and every gym owner within a few weeks goes, I'm doing a specialty program, and they do it and it fucking lays an egg, because it's about you and your wallet, and it isn't about them and what they want. So just know this, that if the demand ain't there, you ain't got it. Build it, connect more with your people, open up that dialogue so that when people are actually telling you what they want, and from there, you'll know what to plug in. If you don't know what to plug in and you're just winging it because you want some scratch, you're fucked. So you got a lot to learn. So join the Gear Academy. We're just solve all these problems for you. Get in the Gear Academy. I don't know, what is it? It's $400 or $500 a month if you want to do it out there, or you can pay up front, but it's 1 year long. We're going to go through and we do the offer stack. We can choose each of these milestones, whether it is a specialty program launch, but we make sure specialty program launch, the supplement launches, to getting you plugged in with creating new revenue streams, or whatever that's going to be, shoring up your systems, helping you with staffing, helping you with marketing. We do a lot of stuff for our Gear Academy gyms, and we've had a few gyms have had like the most successful every month. We have 2 gyms now where every month have been the most successful month that they've had in their business for like 6 months since they joined. Every month more successful than before, and every single month the most successful they've ever had. Okay. So get in it. If your shit's sitting still, it's because you're sitting still. So quit sitting still and get in the fucking Gear Academy. Message us via anything you want. Message me at Tyler F. and So on Instagram. Message us on the podcast at the Gym Owners Podcast on Instagram. Get in the Facebook group if you want to find out more. You want to get a fast track. Here's the thing. If you want to get in the Gear Academy and can't afford it, get in on some of this offer building workshops that we're going to do for you in the next couple months, because you will sit down in 1 or 2 sales opportunities. If you commit to this, you will have made enough money to fucking float the Gear Academy for a very, very, very long time. And then we can teach you how to scale that up forever and make that money work for your business for the long term. So get off that fucking earnings treadmill and wondering why your shit keeps sitting still. Get in the Gear Academy. Get in the Facebook group, links in description. Follow John at JBanksFL. Go Gators. Later, guys.
Go Gators.